So the Chargers' edge room actually looks pretty solid right now. But what if they're still not sold on it? What if they went out and made a move for a former top-5 pick who could help right away and maybe even take over for Khalil Mack down the line? Today, I'm diving into that trade idea, plus what Kyle Kennard really brings to the table, and whether this pass rush is actually better or worse without Joey Bosa. And can Trey Harris really put up better numbers than Ladd McConkey? And which Day 3 rookie is most likely to break out this year? So, let's get into it. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. Now, let's start with the Kayvon Thibodeaux trade idea, because this came from a fan mail question that honestly made me stop and think. It wasn't a name I had considered before, but the more you look at the Giants situation, the more it makes sense. They've got a ton of money tied up in their defensive line. Brian Burns just got paid. Dexter Lawrence already got paid. And then they went and drafted another edge in Abdul Carter. So where exactly does that leave Kayvon? The Giants already picked up his fifth-year option, which makes this interesting. He's under contract through 2025, and that means whoever trades for him gets at least 2 years of control. That's a lot different from a Von Miller-type move, which is really just a short-term rental. If you trade for Thibodeaux, you're getting someone who could help you win now, and potentially be the long-term answer once Khalil Mack is gone. And let's be real, Mack isn't getting younger. Even if he somehow replicates last year's production, we all know he's closer to the end than the beginning. So it makes a ton of sense to at least explore a move like this, especially if Tuipulotu doesn't take that full step forward this year, or if Kyle Kennard isn't ready to handle a major role. Now, the big question here is cost. What would the Giants want? That depends on their record and where things stand mid-season. If they start slow, they might look to move off a player like Kayvon and get something in return before his price tag jumps in 2026. You don't want to be the team paying 3 elite defensive linemen. That's just not sustainable. As for the fit, I actually love it. He's young, still improving, and he's already shown that he can put up double-digit sacks. His 11th .5 sack season wasn't a fluke. He also forced 3 fumbles and had 12 tackles for loss. That's a production we haven't really gotten from Bosa in a while, which brings us to the next big question. Did the Chargers get better or worse at edge rusher without Joey Bosa? It sounds crazy to say it, but this might actually be a wash. Joey was a force when he was healthy, but let's not pretend he was playing full seasons anymore. He only played 457 snaps last year and crossed 40 snaps in just 6 games. That's not someone you can rely on. And look, I get it. When Bosa is right, he can set the edge, rush the passer, and wreck a game plan. But how often was that guy on the field recently? That's why I'm not out on the idea that Kyle Kennard could fill that role, or at least the version of it we saw last year. Kennard's not a complete player yet. He still needs to prove he can stop the run. But if you're asking him to be a situational pass rusher with bend and explosion, yeah, he can do that. Day 1. And that's all the Chargers really need him to be. The goal here is for Tuli to take the next step, become the full-time guy, and let Kennard slide into that rotational role where he can just pin his ears back and go. That would be a smart way to use him early. If that works out, then you're in good shape. But if it doesn't, that's where a move like Thibodeaux starts to make even more sense. Okay. Now, let's shift gears to the offense. Can Trey Harris actually outproduce Ladd McConkey as a rookie? And look, I love Trey Harris. We were talking about him before the draft. He was in our mock drafts. He's a true X-receiver who wins with size and physicality. But let's be honest, it's not that simple. When Ladd got drafted last year, he walked into a wide receiver room with very little competition. He was the best receiver on the field almost immediately. He had Justin Herbert's trust, and he ran away with the opportunity. That's not the case for Trey Harris. He's stepping into a much more crowded room. Mike Williams is back. Ladd McConkey is still here. Keandre Lambert-Smith is in the mix. It's going to be hard to get targets. So, while I think Trey Harris could be the future at X receiver, it's tough to imagine him getting the same kind of volume Ladd got last year. And that matters. Ladd didn't even get going until midseason and still put up over 1,100 yards. Unless Harris is a starter from day 1 and never comes off the field, he's not hitting those numbers. Not because he can't, but because the opportunity just won't be there. Now, I would like to discuss another guy whose opportunity window might be closing: Zion Johnson. Fans keep asking whether Zion is on his last shot with the Chargers, and honestly, it kind of feels like he is. This is a guy with elite physical traits, super strong, long arms, smart player. But we're 3 years in, and the results just haven't matched the tools. He's allowed 14 sacks and over 100 pressures already. That's a ton. And the team declined his fifth-year option. That says a lot. The thing is, he's had 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 years. He's played multiple positions. He moved from right guard to left guard, and now might even be competing for the center job. That's not exactly an ideal development. But at the same time, you can't keep using that as an excuse. At some point, you either figure it out or you don't. I'm still hoping he puts it all together, because when Zion is good, he looks like a monster. But the inconsistency has been brutal, and with the Chargers loading up on linemen around him, he's not guaranteed anything beyond this year. Speaking of linemen, the NFL just announced a new award, Protector of the Year, and the Chargers might actually have 2 legit candidates for it. Rashawn Slater had one of the best seasons of any tackle in the league last year. He posted a 91.1 overall grade, gave up just 3 sacks, and dominated in both run and pass protection. 2 of those sacks came in one game against Myles Garrett when Slater was clearly banged up. Outside of that, nearly perfect. Joe Alt was a rookie and still looked like a top 15 tackle. He played over 1,000 snaps, allowed just 6 sacks, and had the second fewest pressures among all tackles with 600-plus pass block reps. That's crazy, and he did it while switching sides from his college position. So yeah, both of these dudes could be in the mix. Slater probably gets the nod first because of the all-pro background and name recognition. But don't sleep on Alt. He has every physical tool you want, and if he makes a second-year jump, that award might not be out of reach at all. All right, last thing I want to hit, Day 3 rookies. Which one has the best shot to break out in 2025? For me, it's Oronde Gadsden II. The Chargers haven't had a real pass-catching tight end since Hunter Henry. Gadsden gives them something different. He's got strong hands, great feel for space, and attacks the seam. He's not a blocker, and that's going to limit his snaps early. But if the staff can scheme around that, he could be a real weapon. The other name I'd throw out there is Kyle Kennard again. If he gets on the field, even as a pass rush specialist, he could make an instant impact. He's got a real bend and knows how to win off the edge. He just needs to prove he can hold up in the run game. That's going to be his biggest test. So overall, this roster has some real upside, but it also has some real questions too. So, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section.